Welcome to Envision Broadcasting, the station designed to encourage, equip, and empower you for growth and success presents The Momentum Shift. A show where we get inspired, we get moving, and we get results. Every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern with your host, Eric Collier. He's the mayor of motivation and mental quicksand expert, bringing you inspiring interviews and empowering stories that will help to improve lives. If you're ready to start making the impossible possible, then you've joined the right show, because the momentum shift is what you've been looking for.
I believe is that, when you think about connecting, and I talked about when people know you, that's when the magic happens. This is so true. I mean, nothing happens alone, and we need other people to be successful. We need other people to come alongside us. That's why having your tribe is so big. That's why having a community is so big. I mean, literally, I started the brand domination community to put like-minded people together so that you have people that are supportive and doing what you do, so that when you can't get it at home, you can get it.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you can't get it. We're going different avenues to get it, and to get it with people that are doing what we do.
Are you feeling stuck, dreaming of a life beyond your current boundaries? I'm Eric Collier, and I've been where you are. Now, as an international speaker, 3-time international best-selling co-author, veteran, and the host of the Momentum Shift podcast and radio show, I've dedicated my life to helping people just like yourself embark on a transformative journey to unlocking your inner greatness. With my wealth of experience and a proven track record, I guide individuals to break through barriers and create life-changing momentum shifts. Having been featured in news and magazine articles, on television shows, and spoken on stages like the National Press Club and Columbia University, my message has inspired people worldwide to turn the impossible into possible. On my show, the Momentum Shift podcast and radio show, I'm committed to sparking a movement that empowers others to shift momentum in their lives, offering motivational insights, interviews, and thought-provoking discussions. If you are ready to redefine what's possible and unlock your potential, then subscribe to my mailing list for exclusive content and updates. Join a community of motivated individuals just like yourself on the path to greatness. Subscribe now and transform your life at CericCollier.com. Hello and welcome to the Momentum Shift, a show designed to get you inspired, get you moving so you can get results. Why? Because we want you to turn the impossible into reality. Hello, I'm Eric Collier, the mayor of motivation and your host of the Momentum Shift podcast and radio show. I'm glad to be here with you today, and I'm excited about my guest. As always, I'm excited about the people I bring on this show simply because I want them to show to you or prove to you that you being stuck right now doesn't mean you have to be there forever. I've got a guest with me today who is a highly driven woman who was born to break barriers. She proves that when powered by purpose, people are unstoppable. And I love her message, and I'm glad to have her on simply because her message is one that many people will die with simply because they allow themselves to stay stuck and controlled by people who don't want them to succeed. So with me today, I have the Chief Brandthrupist, Miss Yolanda M. Smith of Branding for Success, LLC. Yolanda, thank you for joining me. How are you?
Hey, Eric, thanks for having me. I'm doing absolutely wonderful, out here shifting momentum, okay?
There we go. There we go. I know that's why I got you on here, because you are a momentum shifter. When I heard your story, I said, that's what I want on my show. This is the type of movement that I want to create, because people will get stuck in those situations that you found yourself in that we'll cover here shortly and stay there. So I want to thank you again for joining me. And I'm going to start by asking them one question I ask everybody when we get started. What is momentum shift to you, and how has it changed your life?
Ooh, that's a good one, because you know what? I think through life, you have several momentum shifts, depending on where you are at any given time.
Right.
But certainly to me, I look at it as that thing, and truly it can be shifting you out of something or shifting you into something, right?
Yeah.
So when I think about momentum shifting for me, it's how are you taking things to the next level, or how are you navigating yourself out of a situation or out of something that has happened to you,
Mm.
but you are willing to do what you need to do to change the trajectory of it.
Yeah, I like that because you bring up something that just kind of clicks, right? How we view problems sometimes. Things happen to us and we find ourselves stuck and we
Yes.
never move forward. So with that, I got to come to you. So how did you become the Brandthrupist, the Chief Brandthrupist of branding for success?
Yeah, that's a good one. It was one of those things where literally I was in corporate America. So my career spanned 30 years in the pharmaceutical industry, and I held various roles. But one of the things I didn't realize is that I needed to have mentors and coaches. And I was mid-career before I ever had a mentor, a coach, or a sponsor, because nobody ever told me I needed one. And so just being by nature, curious learner, sort of driven, I was able to be successful, but I just can only imagine how much further, faster I could have gone. And so I actually was a chair for a nonprofit organization called Girls Talk. And I literally wanted to do more than just sit there and raise funds and push paper, right? I said, how
Yeah.
can I get involved with these young ladies, roll up my sleeves and really get to work? And that's when I started digging around as to what tools or resources could I give them. And I discovered personal branding. And it
Okay.
was at that point that I really liked it. I started researching it. This is about 2013. And
Okay.
so I started researching it and going further and further into it. And I just was like, there's something here that people need to understand. You have to be visible. You
Yeah.
have to, amplify your brand. And I don't think at that point we really knew that we were the brand, right? We
Right.
always looked at companies or products, but we as individuals are definitely a brand. And that's how it all started. And the Brandthrupist came from me really digging deep, doing research. I became a certified brand analyst. I
Okay.
started adding a lot of value. You can be whatever you want to be. You just got to be committed and consistent, right?
Yes, definitely. And like you said, at the time, 2013, I don't think I knew anything about branding at all. Like you said, it was all about what we saw on TV.
Yeah.
And so for you to take an interest in that and realize the importance, I think my dad would always say, you only get one shot to make a first impression. And branding
Oh,
is it, right?
you know what? That is so true. And I think today in this digital environment, what people don't understand is that a brand is a requirement, not an option.
Yeah.
Because the bottom line is that somebody within a click, a scroll, a tap on your page is making a judgment about you. So
Yes.
what are you putting out there for them to see, right? Our
Yeah.
attention spans are very short. If you're looking to build your business, really be able to stand out. What are you putting out there that's going to enable you to be able to do that? Because we
Right.
have a very short attention span, by the way.
Yeah.
Studies suggest that our attention span is less than a goldfish. And if you really look it up, research it, look it up, I think the goldfish has an attention span of somewhere between 7 and 8 seconds. And so
Man.
as humans, if we are less than that, you have got to be able to catch them at, like my mentor said, at hello. How do
Yeah.
you catch them at hello?
Yes, I heard you talk about the elevator pitch that you create. I think it's
Yes.
important. And I actually was telling my students, I mentor high school students, and I was telling them, I said that elevator pitch is going to come in handy for you. And I explained to them when I left the military, I was a government contractor, and my interview with this company was actually finished on an elevator with an executive. So
Wow.
that's important, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I certainly had one of those scary moments back in 2009 when I was in a room working in the pharmaceutical industry with some colleagues brainstorming customer engagement, and then walked the CEO, right? And
yeah,
he comes into the room and he knew several people, but he didn't know me. So he
right,
comes over to me and he says, "Hey, I'm John Lecklider. I don't believe we met." And I'm thinking, I know who you are. I said,
right.
I'm Yolanda. Nice to meet you. And he said to me, "Yolanda, tell me something about yourself." And literally, Eric, I choked.
Yeah.
I literally choked and
It
ended
happened.
up stuttering my job title. And
Wow.
I'm telling you, you are not your job title. Your job
Exactly.
title is on loan to you.
Yeah.
And there were 300 other people in that company with the same job title that I held at that particular moment.
So
So I didn't
you
make myself stand out. I wasn't memorable.
right.
And I
Yeah.
knew instantly I had blew a huge opportunity to tell him something interesting and compelling about me. But at that time, I didn't know what it was. I just know it didn't feel right. I knew I missed, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? That shot on goal, I missed it, but I just didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
And yeah, so learning branding, it became very clear. Oh my God, and that's why I personally don't like the term elevator pitch. I use your brand signature statement, or one of my mentors, Linda Clemens, says your $1 million minute.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, I like that
True.
too. I use it a lot. $1 million minute, because think about it. In an instant, your life can change based on what you share with someone.
Yeah.
Literally.
Oh yeah. You're
Yeah.
so right. I think the first time I really it caught my attention. I was at an event where Damon John, Fubu,
Yes.
and Shark Tank was speaking, and part of his Shark rules was that you are the brand. You are the brand. You got to realize that you are the brand, and it's something I never thought about at all. So when
Yeah.
you talk about you are not your job title. I think
Ooh.
that's a great lead into your speech. I got a chance to hear you at the National Press Club, and
Yes.
you talked and I've actually heard you speaking on some of your YouTube on your site, and you talked about how you thought you were killing it on the job, and all of a sudden things changed. Talk to us about that and how that momentum shift, how that momentum stopped, but you found a way to get it going.
Yeah, that's why I said momentum goes a couple of ways. Yeah, I was working in corporate America and my career was on a very positive trajectory. I was, doing my thing by all accounts. I thought at least I'm headed to the C-suite. Things are rolling, doing well. And literally the company went through a reorganization, and in a blink of an eye, I walked my sponsors, my coaches, my former leaders, anybody that really knew me and could say positive things about me had left the company. They offered a very lucrative voluntary retirement package. And so I found myself in another department, and I was really focused on my employees because this was a major change,
Yeah.
and probably within a couple of months, the best way I can say it is in walked the boss from, HELL. And man, I'm telling you, things just got crazy from there. And I can't tell you why she didn't like me. She just didn't. And it became tough. And she just poked and prodded. And I remember sitting at home working from home one day, and the phone rang, and it was HR, and HR had contacted me saying, "Hey, we need to have a meeting." And I'm thinking to myself, yay, this is
Moving
going to be
on up.
great. You know what I mean? Let's get it going. Either she's going to leave me alone, or you got something good to tell me. What are we doing? And I walked in, and I never will forget the stoic look on their faces. And I just knew right then. I got nervous. I said, I'm in trouble, And as I slid down into the seat, the next words I heard was that I was being demoted and my team was being taken from me. And mind you, this was a team that I built from the ground up 6 years prior. So
Gotcha.
how all of a sudden you gonna just come take my whole team away from me and tell
Right.
me now I can't lead a team?
Right.
But it was in that moment, right, that I really had to dig deep and understand what's going on here. And so ultimately I had two questions I could ask myself. One, would you take any accountability for what happened to you? And then number two, are you really going to allow one person to have that much power over your destiny?
Right.
And this is where the momentum shift came, right? Because to question number one, I said, yes, I do have to take some accountability, because I had a couple months where I could have got in there and started rebuilding some relationships, right? And one of the things I teach in personal branding is connection is the new currency, and relationships are king. So the first thing I should have been doing, instead of protecting my team, or while I was protecting my team, was building these relationships so these people could get to know me. Because when people know you, when they feel like they know your story and they connect with you, that's when the magic happens.
Yes.
And those were people that when she started running the narrative, would have been able to say, that's interesting. That's not the Yolanda I know. I mean, that's
Right.
kind of weird, you know, but by them not knowing me, they were probably over there like, ooh, girl, for real? Really?
Yes.
She did what? I
And
mean,
you,
so you create that dynamic, right?
right. And
So the
you
lesson,
start noticing how they treat you, right? They start
oh
treating
yeah.
you
So the
differently.
lesson there is if you're not telling your story, then somebody else is, and that
Yeah.
can be risky.
Yeah.
And then to the second question, if I was going to give somebody the power to really control my destiny, that was a no, 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 no.
Right.
And I had to humble myself and dig deep and know who I was and be determined that I was going to come back with a vengeance and really build my brand, because the very things I had been teaching, I didn't do. I failed to tell my story. And
Gotcha.
so I came back, I held my head up high. That's when you put the ego to the side
Yeah.
and you have to be humble, be willing to humble yourself.
Right.
And when I did that and I came back and I started working because I was good at what I did and started building those relationships, then the dynamics started to shift.
Yeah.
And literally within a year and a half, I was tapped on the shoulder. I didn't apply for it. I was tapped on the shoulder for a role where I was to then go into a new area, set up a brand new team and lead that team. Powerful. Yeah.
I love
Powerful.
it. I love that.
Powerful.
I
But
mean,
that's the power of your brand, right? But
yeah.
you also then have to have that, like you say, when you think about the momentum shift, when things aren't going so well, you got to be willing to muster up the courage to do some things that are uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And that's okay, because you know what? When we operate in that comfort zone, we ain't doing nothing no way, just being comfortable.
Right.
We ain't growing.
Doing stuff we've already done for years, the same old stuff over and over.
I mean, just nothing. So it's hard to get people to understand that sometimes, but that's when you can operate in that space and you can overcome some of these types of challenges, you become so resilient, you become so confident that you know, I'm like this, bring it on. What's next? Because if I could have got through that one, that was huge. Because literally if it wasn't for me fighting for myself and coming back and showing who I was, you know, and standing up my brand like I did. I mean, she could have changed my life. That was a huge, high paying role. Understand what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
That could have changed the trajectory of my life. But that was at the moment too that I said, I will never have all my eggs in one basket. And that's how Branding for Success was birthed. Okay. And I was working my business and working in corporate America simultaneously. In January of this year, I left and walked away from that job. And
you fired them. They didn't fire you.
They didn't know. I walked away. I walked away.
I mean, you just hit. Oh man, let's go back for a little bit and cover that up for those people who are driving and didn't get a chance to really catch a lot of this. So the way you respond to adversity, instead of you going into a shell and talking about what happened to you and how bad they've been treating you, boom, you took that self-assessment. Pay attention now. If you're listening, pay attention. You took that self-assessment and you were accountable, held yourself accountable. I like it. And then you responded.
That don't mean I didn't say a few cuss words and cry and be mad. Wait a minute, let's not get it twisted. The thing is, I didn't stay there. I went there, but I didn't stay there. I didn't stay there. Oh, and that's the key, right? Devastated. I was devastated. Yeah. I mean, and my mom, I never will forget it. My mom had just been diagnosed with cancer, and I was her caregiver. Gotcha. We were building our dream home, custom home from the bottom up. She almost turned my life upside down. Yeah. Almost. I mean, if I had tucked my tail and got into a corner and just stayed there, I don't know, we might not be having this conversation today.
Right. You know? Yeah. But that's the key, right? You can go there, but now what you gonna do?
Can't stay.
Come on, come out of there. And you know what I like too is I always believe that a lot of the times we stay stuck is because when a problem hits, we try to get back to normal, what we were operating at before. Yeah. But we don't realize I know you've read the Bible, but why do storms and plague come? To clean house, right?
To shift.
Yeah, we got to clean out this negative stuff. We got to
The
clean
shift,
things up. It's time
it's
to grow.
coming. It's coming now. You see all this mess going on now. The
Exactly.
shift is coming now.
Yeah.
We in the midst of it. We in the midst of it.
Yeah, it's changing, but it's not so you can get back to normal. It's so that you
No.
can elevate yourself. It's so you can move forward and grow at a different, with a different mindset, right? And I like what you said. Something that people don't realize is that you were growing your business while you were working your 40 hours a week, and that's what it takes, right? You talk about power with purpose, purpose, the power that comes with operating with a purpose. That's huge right there. You said it yourself. I can't put my eggs in one basket. I got to be able to have an option when it's time for me to go. I'm ready to go.
You know what? That was so huge. That was such a wake up call for me because I realized what could have been. Now, granted, it didn't happen, but that's because I put my ego down, but sometimes we'll be like, I'm not putting up with that. I'm not getting ready to do that. I'm
Right.
not going to do that. And
Right.
we would have made a detrimental decision for our lives and for our families.
Yeah.
And the key there is that when I thought about that, you have to be strategic and intentional about the things you do in life. And if you do that without just haphazardly allowing emotions to control you, see, I'm big on that. I'm big on mindset, but I'm
Right.
also big on having controlled emotions.
Ooh,
And
yes.
I work with that a lot with women because we are emotional creatures, right? But just by our nature. And how do you control that emotion so that you can allow the rationale to come through and make the best decision you can make given the information you have? So yeah, I did that. And one of the things I teach my clients today in a big way, because I speak, I coach, I do corporate training. But one of the things I teach them is that at the end of the day, you need to have multiple income streams.
Yeah.
You cannot operate in this day and age in 2024 on one thing.
Right.
And that one thing can be going so well until it's not.
Oh, yeah.
And it only takes one person to upset the apple cart.
Yeah.
And apples are going everywhere.
They go all over the place. You can't gather them up. They just keep rolling away from you.
All over the
I
place.
just,
And then that chaos.
I just, so, I heard about the horror stories of government contracting when I first started, when I got out of the military. And I'm like, whatever, I ain't worried about that. And so I got laid off in 2013. And for 352 days, a roller coaster ride. And it took me that long to get back to work. And so I understand what I understand the need for more income, right?
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
that 401k will go quick. The 401k quick, bank account,
it'll
go
go
quick.
yes. Think about what you just said. You're about the momentum shift. The other shift that I think we've got to be very intentional about making is around wealth creation and our relationship with money. That's a huge one. I know I teach branding. I'm a branding expert and business strategist, but within that, I'm talking about money because these are things we don't know. Most people don't get wealthy. We think, oh, their families passed them down this, and the third. Typically, that's not the case. What they do is they get good insurance policies and they become wealthy off of those insurance policies.
Right.
Because if you look at it, maybe the Waltons, Sam Walton and Walmart would be the exception, but most family businesses typically don't thrive 5 years after the death of the primary brainchild behind that business, right? Because a lot of times the kids don't have an interest in doing those things. So how do you set your children up? You don't set them up that you hope they're going to run the business. You set them up by making smart investments, real estate, insurance, things of this nature. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's something that as even African Americans, we were not taught.
No.
And so I make it a point to talk about money, talk about the things you need to have, in addition to the 401k. Yes, you can have traditional income, but you need residual income. You need passive income. You need to be looking at what these things are and how they can impact the family and then start to change the trajectory toward having generational wealth. And that's where I am right today. Yeah. I am wealth building so that my grandchild and my grandchild's child can be positioned for success.
Yeah. Because I'm somebody who believes that the largest gap an individual will face is the gap that stands between where they are now and what they could become. So the question becomes, are you willing to climb? The greatest trick the mind will ever pull is convincing you that your greatness does not exist. Mama used to say, she said, Eric, what you do in the dark will come out in the light. And she means that you reap what you sow. You get what you put in. And so you got to put the work in. Why? Because you're going to step your game up and tap into that untapped potential of yours and become the greatest person that you can possibly become. I woke up, I was about to lose everything. And so my wife was about to leave me, and that meant my 3 children were going to be gone, which really hurt me because I would fall short on a promise to my kids where I told them that I was their father. Nobody would ever be in their house taking care of them. Nobody would be responsible for them. They never had to worry about calling anybody daddy but me. Momentum shift. When you get stuck, you got to find a way to get going. And that is all about elevating your performance. You have to realize that high-level results are not products of low-level effort. So you got to step your game up. So you get stuck, you got to get yourself moving. And when you're down in the dumps, you're the only one that's going to be there. So you got to be your own hype man. What happens is when you don't realize that you have all that you ever need to create the life that you want to live, you're missing out. You're standing at the base of that mountain thinking and hoping somebody's going to save you when all you got to do is take action. Theodore Roosevelt said, he said that the credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena with their face marred in dust with sweat and blood. You got to get into the arena, claim your moment, take the opportunity to take your shot. Then when you're in that arena, think about this. I got to step my game up.
Eric's message was extremely powerful.
The power of overcoming is not just connected to you. You're rising because the people behind you are counting on you. Thank you. Thank you, Eric.
Like that. So you got what, granddaughter, right?
I do. I did have a yes, I do.
Yeah. So what she call you?
Gigi. I'm Gigi.
I love it.
I'm a Gigi. And and you see me grinning, honey. I love being my Gigi. I'm like, oh my God. Yes, that's one of the joys of my life today. And I'm very active in her life. I spend a lot of time with her because I want to teach her things, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes you can't necessarily impact your kids the way you can impact maybe the next generation. Because the kids, they grow up and now they get smarter than you are.
Right.
And so, it's hard telling them something. But I will say, I look back and I'm looking at my children and I see them starting to practice some things, and I'm like, they were kind of paying attention. Huh?
Yeah. And something I say is that, when you first start, the shift is for you because you're not happy. And you got to find your purpose. You got to find something that connects with your heart. And I love what you talk about connecting. And so you start changing, but everybody around you is used to the old you. So when you start doing things differently, they're not ready for that. They're not, oh, come on, whatever. I used to get it all the time, my wife and my kids. I'm not even trying to hear that, whatever, Dad. But like you said, you see the change. And that's the important part. You just go to work, put your head down, keep working, and they follow you. They start seeing it. They don't even realize it's happening, but they start seeing it. And I tell you, the first day I heard my wife give her little motivational speech and had her conducted a coaching session with her friend. I'm like, who is this woman?
That was the woman that said no. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're exactly right. Do you know that was one of the challenges I had? I'm telling you, I had some resentment just because I felt like I wasn't being supported the way I could. Even, my husband, he wasn't really that interested. He's like, oh, that's your thing. You do what you do. My kids were just like, okay, Mom, I'm like, come on to get on the class, get on there. No, okay, Mom, they're not interested. Right. And even when you think about your friends and some of the things you do and you didn't get the level of support you thought they would have given you, Right. And I heard something profound. It came twice in a week. And this was a message, right? TD Jakes said it. And then the motivational speaker, Lisa Nichols, said it. And it was really around the fact that we can't get mad at them. And I was mad for a while. I mean, I'm being honest with you. I'm being transparent here and vulnerable. I was mad. Yeah. I was mad at my husband. I was like, he don't support me. He don't care about my business. He don't, And TD Jakes said, quit being mad at them because they don't see your vision. He said, God didn't give it to him them. He gave it to you. He gave you the vision, not them, and
Right.
they'll eventually come around. You know what I mean?
Oh,
But
yeah.
but we have to remind ourselves of that's our vision, and
Yeah.
we're living in our purpose, which may be very different from somebody else's vision and purpose. Yeah.
That's so true. I'm with you on that one. I'm like, if anybody pays attention to what I'm talking about, it'd be my family. But now that's the hardest customer or client you'll ever get.
You just dad.
So talk to me about connection, because I love what you talk about with connection. So
Yeah.
I'm a big believer that we're connecting this puzzle, and the connection starts with us first. What it is we want in life, who we are, and where we want to go. And from that point, it becomes such a driver. It's so strong. Can you talk to me about what your concept is on connection and why it's so important to shifting momentum and putting you in that area of living in your new reality?
Yeah. One of the things I learned a while ago, and really I practiced, I didn't really, because I've always been a very social person. I've been a very people person. And when I started to look back over even my career and some things and wondered how I was successful, it was because I was great at building relationships. That was just naturally something I did. I didn't have to be super intentional about it. Although today I'm intentional, particularly if I want to meet a certain person or, become involved. And it's not just about meeting that person. It's about being able to add value as well, right? Connection is about adding value. And one of the things I can share with you that I believe is that, when you think about connecting, and I talked about when people know you, that's when the magic happens. This is so true. I mean, nothing happens alone, and we need other people to be successful. We need other people to come alongside us. That's why having your tribe is so big. That's why having a community is so big. I mean, literally, I started the brand domination community to put like-minded people together so that you have people that are supportive and doing what you do, so that when you can't get it at home, you can get it.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you can't get it. We're going different avenues to get it, and to get it with people that are doing what we do. And one of the things I say is that when that connection happens, and the magic starts to happen, those are the people literally that will do business with you. They'll promote you, they'll sponsor you, they'll nominate you. Heck, they'll marry you and loan you money. It don't get better than that. You know what I mean? It don't get better than that. But that's the power of connection. And it only takes one good connection to put you in the right rooms. But people have to understand, you can't sit still and expect this to happen.
No.
It is so important that you place yourselves into the room, that you invest in yourself, so that you can get what you need. Because truly, your level of success really rarely exceeds your level of investment. And we don't often think about investing in ourselves. We invest on ourselves. Oh, you wear the nice clothes, you look good, this thing. So what I say to people is, do you want to look rich, or do you want to be rich? Because that's a different story.
Yeah. I think
but connection.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Connection makes it happen.
Yeah, so true. I think when you talk about that, do you want to look rich or be rich? I think the first time I saw that in that concept was Rich, the Millionaire Next Door. And in it, they talk about people have a lot of hats and no cattle. And you think about it, hats don't make you any money. Cattle will, but nobody will go out and buy any cattle. We'll buy all kind of hats, shoes, and everything else.
Look like you're doing something. But truth of the matter.
Right. We car poor and everything else.
Yeah.
So I was on your website, and so I want to talk about this book. You got, what is it? Reputation to Reward.
Yep.
That's your new book,
I
right?
think I got my thing, so it's going to be hard to see it on here.
Oh yeah, probably if you put it in front of you.
Background here, but it's hard to see.
Can you put it in front of you? There, that's a little bit.
That work? Oh, okay, in front of me. Yeah.
Raise it up a little bit.
Wait a minute, let me see.
There we go. A little bit. There we go. That's
there you go. Yeah, there you go. That's reputation. There it is. Reputation to Reward. Yeah, this was the first book I wrote, Reputation to Reward. Really creating and mastering your brand signature so that you can earn more, lead more, and win more. Yeah. And the purpose of that is to help people understand the value of having a powerful personal brand. Yeah. When you think about who you are and the value you can have, if you're not succinctly able and with clarity to articulate your value, if you're not willing to be able to show up authentically so you can make those genuine connections and finding ways to stand out, what's your unique value proposition? You know, you have to be able to do those things. And if you do them and do them well, you can achieve many rewards leveraging your brand. Your brand is valuable. It's worth something. And so in that book, I talk about that and teach people the steps of how to start to really develop their brand in a way so that they can have the visibility and recognition that they desire, so that they can have the influence, impact, and income that they want.
So when you're working with people, what do you see as kind of like the common theme for people who not really focusing on their brand or focusing on themselves to be the brand? That makes sense.
Okay. Okay.
So when you're working with people, what do you see? Is there a common theme that you notice where people just haven't really, or maybe I can't even ask this question properly here.
I think
So
I got you. I think I got you.
Okay. So
Yes.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. So the first one is most people feel like branding doesn't pertain to them. Again,
Okay.
they're still extrapolating it to celebrities, politicians, athletes. But I'm here to tell you, in this digital environment, that's so not true. I mean, it's all about how you show up and if you're discoverable. Can people find you? Because ideally, you don't want to be the best kept secret. You want to be the sought after authority. You don't want to be sitting here invisible. You want to be unforgettable.
There we
You
go.
know what I mean? You don't want to be the
Another one of
person
your books.
that is become unforgettable. You don't want to be sitting here, you know, looking at the person that got the promotion. You want to be the person that got the promotion.
Yeah.
And so helping people to understand that it does pertain to you. And then number two is they feel like just what we just talked about. Maybe there's no value there. What does that mean? How do I use it? So I help them to be able to activate and amplify and master their brand so that they can see that there's much value. And when I talk about value, yes, money. Studies suggest you can earn up to 25% more just by being intentional and strategic with your brand versus somebody that's not. It also talks about, think about it, value is, are you making the right connections? Because connections can mean lots of money, lots of being in the right room, lots of assistance, lots of being able to be influential, being that authority, you know, for the thing that you know what to do. It can be just better relationships, being able to sit on boards. I mean, it's all up to you. Your reward is what you desire to have. I can't tell you what that is, but you have to be strategic and intentional. If you're organically allowing it to grow, it doesn't mean you won't have some level of success. But I am here to tell you, if you want to have literally massive results, massive success, work this thing. I live in testament. I started out knowing nothing about it. Said I was going to become the brand expert, put the work in, was consistent, constantly adding value. And when COVID hit, that was a transformative moment for me. All of a sudden, people start coming to me. Hey, what's this thing about personal branding? I just lost my job. Can you help me? I said, well, who are you? I don't know what to say because I was the vice president of such and such. Well, you're not your job title because you see, you don't even have that one anymore, right?
Oh, yeah.
So how do we say that? Yes. That's the power.
Wow. Yeah.
You know, and not only that, having an opportunity for people to seek you out for the things you do well, because ideally, if you work a job, you're probably only activating maybe 2 or 3 certain skill sets where you may have expertise over here and over here. But if you never tell anybody, how they don't know?
Exactly.
We're not mind readers.
Yeah.
You got to put it out. This isn't boasting. This is helping people understand so they can come and tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, I'm looking for XYZ. I heard you do. Yes, I do.
Right.
Bingo.
Yeah. People to say, I heard the statement. It said, they won't flow you because they don't know you.
Oh, that's Grant Cardone. That's my boy. You know, he's the 10X king. He is
Grant
the sales king. He said, if they don't know you, they can't flow you. That's Grant Cardone all day.
I'm
and
a big fan of
I
Grant
use
Cardone.
that. It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. You got to be willing to put yourself out there so people know. And the only way you're going to do that is to be able to engage and connect and build relationships. It's not about how many followers you have. That is, don't let that, and the likes don't matter either, because people pay attention and they're watching whether they whether they like or say something. You'll be amazed at the people that are watching you.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Watching him on the Billionaire Next Door or Undercover Billionaire, I loved it too. So, so let's go with let's go. I'm sorry, I just got sidetracked because I'm thinking about his book now, 10X. I love it.
The next
Oh,
rule. Yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, I think I love what you're doing. I think but let's talk about something here. Even though we make a shift and we starting out, I know we're closing it out here, but even though we make a shift, there's still some battles that we have to face. Do you feel, how do you confront fear?
Head on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Literally head on. Let me just tell you something. There's all these acronyms, false evidence appearing real and all these sort of things. Let me tell you something. Fear is it's a real thing. It exists.
Yeah.
And what I found and what I learned is that it doesn't go away. And
Right.
so what I teach people is, are we going to manage the fear, or are we going to allow the fear to manage us? Okay, that's the choice you have. You
Right.
manage it or it manages you.
Yeah.
And so one of the things I teach is a process I learned from Coach Dan Sullivan, and it's called the 4 C's. And that's where you start making a commitment to do something, right? I just tell people, you got to make a commitment. If you don't make a commitment, ain't nothing gonna get done, and you'll miss 100% of the shots you never take.
Right.
You'll miss 100% of them if you never take them.
Never.
And so make a commitment to do something, but commitment alone is not enough. You got to muster up the courage.
Yes.
You get the courage to do it, you'll build the capabilities, whether that's a skill, whether that's a relationship or tool, whatever you need to really be able to have that breakthrough. And
Right.
once you have that breakthrough, then all of a sudden you have a higher learning of confidence, because the fear is really operating in the unknown. The confidence is saying, I've done it. Okay, that wasn't that big of a deal anyway, right?
Yeah.
So you just have to be willing to say, there's going to be some things I'm scared to do, but the scareder I get, the more excited I want to do it.
Yeah.
Because I know that if I can break through that, or when I break through that, then I'm going to have a higher level of confidence. And I just repeat that cycle. You just have to be willing to do it.
Yeah.
Life is going to be full of fears. I mean, people will scare you to make you think you have fears. It's also about that mindset, what you tell yourself. The mind is powerful.
Yeah.
And so I just walk around like, you know what? There's nothing too big for me to conquer. It's fine. I'm designed to have it. I'm an expected individual. Success is mine. Money flows easily to me. Lord, bring it on. I'm ready. I'm just to receive. You know what I mean? Your mind says you can do that. If you operate in that growth mindset versus the fixed mindset, you're positioning yourself to be successful, because the only thing standing between you and the success you desire is the story you tell yourself.
Ooh, watch out now. Let me tell you something. I always say that the hype person is every momentum shift has a hype person. And I love what you just said. You're your own hype person. I can tell it. I can hear it. And if anybody wants to know how you got it, how you need to do it when it comes to shifting momentum, when it comes to building your brand, y'all just heard it here today from Yolanda M. Smith, the Brandthrupist. You heard it. So talk to me about what you got coming up next.
Oh, I'm so excited. So many things coming up. But one of my big things I've been doing lately is I've been doing these challenges. I want people to get an opportunity to be able to know who I am and build those relationships with people. So it's a low entry way to get in and allow me to teach you things. I have the Brand Domination and Business Challenge, and I do it every month, every other month. So just depending on when this is going to air, there may be one coming up, but we'll get you the link to it so that you can go and take a look and see. But this is 5 days of hands-on working with me, where I help you make that momentum shift, right? I take you and elevate your brand. I help you to cultivate a sustainable business, putting in the right processes and structures, making sure you've got it set up so that you can survive. Because as you know, most businesses are gone within 5 years.
Because I'm somebody who believes that the largest gap an individual will face is the gap that stands between where they are now and what they could become. So the question becomes, are you willing to climb? The greatest trick the mind will ever pull is convincing you that your greatness does not exist. Mama used to say, she said, Eric, what you do in the dark will come out in the light. And she means that you reap what you sow. You get what you put in. And so you got to put the work in. Why? because you're going to step your game up and tap into that untapped potential of yours and become the greatest person that you can possibly become. I woke up, I was about to lose everything. And so my wife was about to leave me, and that meant my 3 children were going to be gone, which really hurt me because I would fall short on a promise to my kids where I told them that I was their father. Nobody would ever be in their house taking care of them. Nobody would be responsible for them. They never had to worry about calling anybody daddy but me. Momentum shift. When you get stuck, you got to find a way to get going. And that is all about elevating your performance. You have to realize that high-level results are not products of low-level effort. So you got to step your game up. So you get stuck, you got to get yourself moving. And when you're down in the dumps, you're the only one that's going to be there. So you got to be your own hype man. What happens is when you don't realize that you have all that you ever need to create the life that you want to live, you're missing out. You're standing at the base of that mountain thinking and hoping somebody's going to save you when all you got to do is take action. Theodore Roosevelt said, he said that the credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena with their face marred in dust with sweat and blood. You got to get in the arena, claim your moment, take the opportunity to take your shot. Then when you're in that arena, think about this. I got to step my game up.
Eric's message was extremely powerful.
The power of overcoming is not just connected to you. You're rising because the people behind you are counting on you. Thank you. Thank you, Eric.
Well, I've surpassed the 5-year mark, so I can say I know a little bit about how to help you stay in business and then really help you to attract the clients you want, being able to really be confident in articulating that value about who are you? Right. What do you do? How do you do it? And why should I care? Yeah. I mean, so it's really 5 hands-on days with me working and really being able to build that, understanding the dynamics of social media and why you need a positive digital footprint, and really just building relationships with like-minded people and just having fun. We have fun. That's the other piece of it. We have fun. And other than that, I'm available to book for speaking. I speak at multiple conferences. I train, as you know, in corporations to really help engage employees and add value to employees with professional development workshops and things of that. So it's going to be busy. It's going to be busy.
and ladies and gentlemen,
I said, we're going to soar in 2024. Okay.
There we go. There we go. I love it. And ladies and gentlemen, I encourage you, replay this because she dropped some nuggets here for you today that you don't always get. And I'm telling you, work with her for 5 days and you'll see your life is going to change tremendously. I love what you're doing. And like I said, I just hearing your story and then hearing you speech, it's very inspiring. And I've already passed your name on to a few people because especially because they're in the area. We'll talk about it when we get done here, but I think you're awesome. I love it. I love what you're doing. You're doing it for your family as well. And like you said, Gigi, Mama Gigi.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
So
yes, we got to change the trajectory and give them a good opportunity for success.
Yeah, exactly.
Set them up for success.
And
definitely.
Especially and around the community too. So what can we link up with you?
So you can go to my website at yolandamsmith.com.
Okay.
And then, of course, I'm on LinkedIn, branding the number 4 success, and Instagram is branding the number 4 success. So definitely look up with me because I'm always adding value out there. Follow me because really it may be just that day it clicked and I gave you a solution to a problem you needed to solve. You just never know. Or a tip on how to really show up different. It's always about improvement and shifting that momentum.
There it is. And I think if they go to your Branding for Success site, you actually have a starting guide that'll help them out, right?
Yeah, the digital, they can get the free digital blueprint to helping them to be able to stand out. And then, of course, my books are on the website. And you know what? Just connect. This is how I tell people, get in the room, get to know people. You need to be aligned to people that have already done what you're trying to do. You need to be aligned with people that have expertise where you don't have it. Do it, connect, I'm easy to get along with.
I agree. If you really want to change your life, start connecting with the right people. And with that, Yolanda M. Smith, the Brandthrupist, thank you for joining me today. I really have enjoyed our conversation. Again, like I said, I've said it a couple times already. I love what you're doing. Just keep pushing.
Thank you.
With that, ladies and
Thank
gentlemen,
you.
that's our
Thank you.
show for today. Thank you for joining us on the Momentum Shift, a show designed to get you inspired, get you moving so you can get results. Why? Because we want you to turn the impossible into your new reality. With that, I'm Eric Collier, the Mayor of Motivation. And until next week, take care. Because I'm somebody who believes that the largest gap an individual will face is the gap that stands between where they are now and what they could become. So the question becomes, are you willing to climb? The greatest trick the mind will ever pull is convincing you that your greatness does not exist. Mama used to say, she said, Eric, what you do in the dark will come out in the light. And she means that you reap what you sow. You get what you put in. And so you got to put the work in. Why? Because you're going to step your game up and tap into that untapped potential of yours and become the greatest person that you can possibly become.
I woke up, I was about to lose everything. And so my wife was about to leave me, and that meant my 3 children were going to be gone, which really hurt me because I would fall short on a promise to my kids where I told them that I was their father. Nobody would ever be in their house taking care of them. Nobody would be responsible for them. They never had to worry about calling anybody daddy but me. Momentum shift. When you get stuck, you got to find a way to get going. And that is all about elevating your performance. You have to realize that high-level results are not products of low-level effort. So you got to step your game up. So you get stuck, you got to get yourself moving. And when you're down in the dumps, you're the only one that's going to be there. So you got to be your own hype man. What happens is when you don't realize that you have all that you ever need to create the life that you want to live, you're missing out. You're standing at the base of that mountain thinking and hoping somebody's going to save you when all you got to do is take action. Theodore Roosevelt said, he said that the credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena with their face marred in dust with sweat and blood. You've got to get in the arena, claim your moment, take the opportunity to take your shot. Then when you're in that arena, think about this. I got to step my game up.
Eric's message was extremely powerful.
The power of overcoming is not just connected to you. You're rising because the people behind you are counting on you. Thank you. Thank you, Eric.
Are you feeling stuck, dreaming of a life beyond your current boundaries? I'm Eric Collier, and I've been where you are. Now, as an international speaker, 3-time international best-selling co-author, veteran, and the host of the Momentum Shift podcast and radio show, I've dedicated my life to helping people just like yourself embark on a transformative journey to unlocking your inner greatness. With my wealth of experience and a proven track record, I guide individuals to break through barriers and create life-changing momentum shifts. Having been featured in news and magazine articles, on television shows, and spoken on stages like the National Press Club and Columbia University, my message has inspired people worldwide to turn the impossible into possible. On my show, the Momentum Shift podcast and radio show, I'm committed to sparking a movement that empowers others to shift momentum in their lives, offering motivational insights, interviews, and thought-provoking discussions. If you are ready to redefine what's possible and unlock your potential, then subscribe to my mailing list for exclusive content and updates. Join a community of motivated individuals just like yourself on the path to greatness. Subscribe now and transform your life at CEricCollier.com. That's CEricCollier.com.
Thank you for joining The Momentum Shift, a show bringing you interviews and stories of incredible people to help you get inspired, get moving, and get results to ultimately create the life-changing momentum shift that will improve your life. Join host Eric Collier, the Mayor of Motivation and Mental Quicksand Expert, every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern for The Momentum Shift, the show and change you've been looking for.